You right now, I'm calling bullshit on this.
Every day playing, and she would look at him. She watched the show every day. She couldn't email, but this was her version of emailing. Every day she'd watch the show. And she did it because Daddy would take the item that she gave to him and have it on the show with him. And sometimes he would say, like, this is the item that my daughter gave me. Sometimes he wouldn't, just to see if she was really watching. And so when he would come home, she would be like, Daddy, I saw the puppet on the show today. Daddy, I saw the moose on the show today. Daddy, you brought baby Buff Buff on the show today? Like, so that was their little connection point of, and he loved it too, because it was a little piece of her that he could have with her on the show. But those little moments of...
I lost my grandfather in 2009, and I still cannot talk about sentimental things, or I will bawl my freaking eyes out. Now tell me how someone can lose their husband, the father of their 2 young babies, okay? And 15 days later, they're joking, they're laughing, they're having a great time, they're so excited about the future. When I lost my grandpa, I thought I lost my future. Don't give me that shit that she is just trying to cope, and that's her coping mechanism. Check out this video and see what you think. See if you see what I'm talking about.
Only group will continue to go on. All of his socials that God has blessed us with, the people who follow those socials will go on. Nothing is changing. But I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird. Cringy. We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly off.
You think?
So we have speeches that no one's heard of. We have interviews that no one's heard of. We have stuff from Korea and Japan that no one's heard of.
Podcasts.
So, I mean, in the words of my husband, buckle up, because there is a lot of content to be had. And we have so many amazing things down the pipeline that we are working on currently that will
unveil in due time.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm freaking talking about. I think it's odd. I think it's very odd behavior of a grieving widow. And I have never seen that before. And I'm 55 years old, so I've seen people lose their husband. I've seen people lose close family members, including myself. And that behavior is very off. Maybe I'm just being over emotional about this. I don't know. But what do you think about it? What do you think? Have you watched these videos? Tell me what you think about it in the comment section, because I'm telling you right now, I call bullshit.
Am I the only one that thinks Erica Kirk's behavior right now makes sense? I watched the full speech and I've seen all of the social media posts. And right now I am only seeing criticism that this seems odd. It feels off. It looks a little weird. It looks rehearsed. It looks like marketing. It doesn't look like that of a grieving widow. Okay. And I hear you and I relate, because if that happened to my husband, I agree with all of the commenters that you wouldn't see me, right? You wouldn't see me for a while. I would be devastated. I would be shocked. I would not know how to handle myself, let alone get manicured, put on a full face of glam, give a speech, hold it together, giving that speech. I wouldn't be able to do that. But you have to remember that Charlie Kirk was a man of God, okay? And his wife is a woman of God. And they believe very, very deeply in that religion and their mission. Right now, she believes that her husband is with Jesus. She believes that she will see him again. She believes that he died doing the Lord's work. And she believes that her wifely duty right now and her godly duty is to carry on his mission. And I'm not saying that's not delusional, because I think it's a little delusional. But knowing what I know about them and stages of grief, it is a stage of grief that very much makes sense to me right now. Her behavior, I think, aligns perfectly with those initial stages of grief, like denial and anger. She is making a marketing production out of it, because that is what she feels called to do. Right or wrong, weird or not, we can argue about that. But it makes sense to me. That's the point. The behavior makes sense. Let me know what you think. If hearing my perspective changes your view on it at all, or if you still think like it feels off and there's a hidden agenda.
The right's now saying Erica Kirk set her husband up. There's multiple posts out there questioning her grieving, and that something just doesn't sit right with them. Usually a groiper, but there is just post after post of this stuff. And this right-winger saying, if I pass away, I hope my wife mourns longer than a few days before she takes over my business. Or this one calling out how inconsistent she's been online about everything. And especially this one. I don't think I can read it out loud, but you get the point. I mean, I will say, just on my own personal grieving experience, that, yeah, this seems incredibly soon to be doing anything after you've lost your husband. But people do grieve in crazy ways. But I think this is hitting a lot of people the same way, as something just doesn't feel right with this entire operation. Everything feels cultivated, planned, meticulously planned out. And we got a bunch of people telling us that the sky is green with a straight face.
Hi guys, this is Tiana and you're watching Tiana's Thread. So the internet is dragging Charlie Kirk's wife. Just 2 weeks after losing her husband, she's out in public, smiling, laughing and acting like nothing ever happened. People are calling it disrespectful, even shameless. Was she ever grieving at all? Well, this is why people are really mad. It feels too soon, too fake, and way out of line. Whether she's coping differently or just carelessly, the damage is already done. The world is watching and they are not forgiven. Well, let's dive in and see people's opinions to this.
If I was a conspiracy theorist, I might think that Charlie Kirk's wife is moving kind of funny since his death. Like the full glam and the long hug to Trump and the fact that she is now taking over, his organization and had the most to gain. It's a little weird. And apparently she knew Trump long before Charlie Kirk came into the picture, because there are ties of him rooting her on in her pageants back in the day. So I don't know. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I might think that there's something strange there. Right?
Guys, I want to play a little game called What in the Real World. And what I mean by what in the real world is this. I lost a sister who was young, okay? So I know what it's like to have parents that have lost a child and be a sibling of someone who lost a child. And I know her son, my sister's son, how he felt and what he went through. And my son, her nephew, what he went through. And I've also almost lost a child to a drowning, right? So I know the emotions that come with tragedy and what's going on. And what I can tell you is, never once was I in any position to be able to go out there and talk and give a big yahoo to anyone. Never was I ever able to talk in front of the media. And I know what you're saying. Well, this is a person who's always in front of the media. Okay? No. I'm talking about all the other people who parade their kids out there. Well, we saw Charlie get shot. To her. Where are her children? In all this, you would be protecting your children. You would be with your children 24/7. Okay? I was with my parents for months. I was with my children for months when these things happen, when these tragedies happen. I wasn't out there parading around, doing all kinds of crazy talks and this and that. No. Okay? Especially someone who has money, who has the backing, that has the time. It's been 2 weeks, people. 2 weeks. Do you know what it took to do the funeral and all of the stuff and the embalming and taking care of the financials and everything? Do you know what that took? What that encompassed? And here she is out here just smiling, giggling, forgiving people. Come on, guys. This isn't the real world. People don't just go give interviews. They don't just go out there and start smiling and laughing and give these talks. They're with their children. They're with their family. They're literally in like hiding because they're crying nonstop. For as long as I can remember, for the first year after my sister passed, I would just randomly start crying. I couldn't control my emotions. And her husband, the father of her children, she's just out there, oh yeah, things like, come on, man.
I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I'm seeing something that I want to ask people about. Does Charlie Kirk's wife seem a lot happier now that her husband has gotten done before? Because every single podcast show, screen time I see her, she is beaming, ear to ear, smiling. And I don't think people know how dark Charlie Kirk's wife's background is. You just saw your husband on live TV get blown up to smithereens, and you're in week 2 selling merchandise, smiling. Every time I blink and feel him, every time my heart beats, I hear him, da-da-da-da-da, yet you're smiling. There is no conversation about how horrible this is. We need to control gun violence. We need to help all these people. I would never want to see this happen to a child. Nope, you're out there selling merchandise with his face, with a GUN on there, like it's fucking normalcy. It isn't normal, and I don't know if anybody needs to look into the background of her, but just so you know, this woman used to run an orphanage in Rome, and if you ever look back into that, you will see how dark her background is. Also, daddy of Charlie Kirk's wife used to actually help the Israeli weapons side, let's just say it that way. But I'm super curious on how this woman is beaming from ear to ear and her husband has only been gone 3 weeks. Why is it that I feel like you should still be grieving? Why? I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I'm seeing something that I want to ask people about.
Guys, at the end of the day, people feel her actions show no respect for her late husband's memory. Smiling and acting carefree just 2 weeks later, it's leaving a bitter taste and sparking endless backlash online. Well, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Do well to like, share, and of course, subscribe to support the channel. Till next time.